talk about Gone Girl. We're going to have a nice discussion. I have a special guest with me. My
Hello.
Good pal Anthony. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. I wanted to first talk about the hype behind it. I feel like there was a lot of hype leading into this movie that I didn't really see the justification behind.
Well, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of hype going into it, but I think I saw it like the first day it came out, so I didn't really have like too much of an expectation of what was going on first. And then I think when people started seeing it, that they started blowing it into like a big, huge thing. I mean, the book was huge, and then it had Ben Affleck in it and Rosamund Pike, and of course it's a Dave Fincher movie, so I mean, there's already a built-in hype with it.
I didn't know there was a book.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about books, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to read, so.
Yeah. All right, so then let's get into, do you feel, we're going to just talk about the major awards, the Oscars and the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
That it should have won more than it did.
Yeah, I think it got totally snubbed.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it wasn't even nominated for Best Picture in the Oscars, which I found to be utterly ridiculous.
Okay.
Especially with the other movies that were nominated. It was just like, Oscars are just, they're just political now.
Yeah.
It's not even about...
I really feel that the award shows are really political and a little corrupt.
Yeah, it's like they don't even pick the best movies anymore. They just pick whatever movie suits their fancy.
I do agree with you on that, but I disagree with you that Gone Girl deserved any awards. We can get into that later.
Yeah.
So, one interesting thing that I found was that Tyler Perry actually did win an award for this movie.
Really?
But it was African American Film Critics Award, which makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, he was great in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he really was. I didn't ever see him as an attorney, but he really
he played it
sold me
really
on
seriously,
and
I thought he did a good job.
So also the soundtrack or the score was up for an award.
Yeah, I love it.
I actually noticed, like, I like when I watch movies and I notice the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Or the score. Like, I noticed the music in the background. And this movie really did that for me.
Yeah, I really feel that it set the pace for the whole movie. I mean, this is the third or fourth time that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have worked with Dave Fincher, and I feel like now they go hand in hand together. Like, they just understand each other, and they're able to set that atmosphere of the movie perfectly.
Yes.
And I think that this was the perfect combination of it. Like, I mean, and the girl with the dragon tattoo was perfect. And Social Network was great too, the soundtrack, and they just keep building on that eeriness. And I really
that's a
enjoyed
good descriptive word. It made me feel suspenseful, even when I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Certain parts.
Yeah, and to me it was like something. It was like nice music, but in like a very corrupt way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like the relationships in the movie.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Okay. And also, I wanted to point out there was even a Krayshawn track in the movie.
Oh yeah.
She kind of faded out of like popular music, but she was pretty big a couple years ago, and I was a fan of hers, so it was nice just to hear something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's get into some more of the deeper subjects.
Let's do it.
How do you feel about, let's say, get into the domestic violence issue?
In terms of the movie?
Yes. Not in terms of like the overall in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the movie, I don't know if that part where he threw her was actually real, because they allude to that later in the movie that she basically made most of that stuff up.
Okay.
So I think that kind of was a mismatch with the way that he was directing. He made it seem like it was 100% real.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, because I thought it was real, but now I'm going back and thinking, and she might have wrote that in her diary.
Yeah, she definitely wrote that in the diary.
As something that didn't happen.
And then he went on to say that he really never hit her like that or anything. I mean, but of course at the end where he shoves her head into the wall.
Yeah, but she liked it though.
Oh, she did, and she deserved it.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
it's not like he punched her.
Throughout the whole movie, like I thought that she was pretty whacked out.
Oh yeah, and to me, like there's, like for the book, there was like people who were either pro Amy or pro Nick, and it was, I don't even understand how somebody can be pro Amy anymore. Like after seeing that movie, like I just don't get it. She's totally crazy.
I don't get why someone would want to go through all that as she did instead of just walk away. Or
she's
whatever.
A masochist,
but
that's what it is, man.
I mean, she really sold me on her, or just like that type of psycho throughout that movie, like that, because I know that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah,
and maybe not to that extreme or that.
Oh, but
like,
people are crazy and dirty inside.
Yeah,
and they're just willing to do things.
But then
like that.
But then, like Ben Affleck, Nick, he really showed me a part that I didn't like of him either when he chose to stay with her.
Yeah, what I really love about the movie is that how they break it into the three parts of the movie. And like you have like this beautiful part where like you see their relationship growing, and then you see where Nick becomes the bad guy, and like you actually believe it, and then like it just flips the switch like 180, and then Amy just is going through the whole entire spiel of what she did, and then it comes back all full circle at the end, and then it's like he's like a prisoner now.
Yeah. But I mean, even though she went and still managed a way to get his sperm and then got pregnant, and then she had his baby, I still feel like he should have left her.
Yeah. Oh, I feel that he should have left her too.
And he thought he had no choice and no options, but
I know, and
that's why always an option.
That's why his sister was so mad at him in the movie, because I think deep down inside, actually, he still wanted to be with her a little bit.
Yeah. They both turned each other on in a dark, twisted way.
Yeah, yeah. Which is what happens in relationships, though, man. It's crazy.
Relationships
they're just insane.
A roller coaster.
And it's just, it was, I thought it was a great representation of how people act inside in relationships.
Okay. So, without, like, getting too deep in it, though, I feel like the movie was way too long. And, like, it was, like, 2.5 hours. I really feel like you're breaking it up into 3 parts, but I really feel like at each of those breaks, the movie could have ended, and it might have been a better movie.
Yeah, well, I'm so used to movies being longer, and I mean, I feel like they needed to have all of that stuff in that movie to really make you feel like that disgustingness inside.
Okay.
To really let it ferment inside you for a while. And then that way you hate them both in the end, you know?
Yeah, and that's so true, because I really hate them both right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you just ended it too soon, you would have been too much towards one person, and not really looking at the whole picture of how their relationship was.
See, that's why I wanted to get you on here to talk to you about this, because I knew you had an interesting insight into this movie that I probably didn't see or notice. I still don't really like the movie.
I mean, to me, Dave Fincher makes incredible movies, and he makes them like they're so. I mean, you can tell that he just hates people, and that's just the way that his personality is. But he makes movies that are intriguing in different ways, and he's not afraid to show like these terrible sides of people, and like it's great. It's like Scorsese does too sometimes, you know.
That's one thing that I do like about the movie. It's you don't really see too much of this kind of movie or least a path of progression like
Yeah.
this movie has
Yeah, definitely.
in the characters.
Yeah, that's why I'm so gravitated towards certain directors like David Fincher. I mean, from Seven to Zodiac. I mean, he's become the master of the dark movies, pretty much. And I think that this is one of his best.
Okay. So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Any questions for me or anything?
So, what did you not like about the movie?
There was a lot I didn't like. I didn't see, just like, I didn't like how unrealistic a lot of the stuff in the movie was. Like, it was so exaggerated as far as what she went through. Like, I know it's a Hollywood, I know it's a movie, but there's a lot of shortcuts that could have been taken to make it more realistic.
Yeah.
And I feel like she was just so crazy. Just so crazy.
And she was out there, man.
Yeah. And it made me just kind of detach from the movie, just because then I just look at it at a realistic point of view, and I'm just like, well, now I don't, like, it's too exaggerated.
Yeah. Yeah, but to me, it's like that one skit that Louis C.K. did, where he has those feelings inside of course not, but maybe. But she's always thinking the maybe, so she's always at that other level. And I think deep down inside, most of us have that argument with ourselves, but she just doesn't have that of course not, but maybe argument. She's always going for the top shelf with all of her stuff.
That makes sense.
And then, of course, the other argument that some people would make is that the book was written that way, which is not a good enough argument for me. But, of course, that's what some people will say.
But we can get into books versus movies on another show.
Yeah.
We've had that talk before.
Yeah.
But we're running out of time. So, another question I wanted to pose to you is, do you feel like this movie would be worse, better, or the same with a different leading actor, as far as Ben Affleck is concerned?
Oh, I thought it was great with Ben Affleck.
Yeah?
Because I think that he can play that role perfectly. Just that, the Nick role, I thought that nobody else could really play it that way, that he understands that part perfectly, and that it just wouldn't have been the same with anybody else.
Okay. I don't know. Sometimes he came across like he wasn't really acting, so maybe that's what, like you're saying, he's perfect for it. Because, I don't know, now when I watch movies, I look at the acting side of it, not just like the visuals and stuff, and I felt like he wasn't really acting in some parts, like he wasn't trying.
Yeah.
But maybe as a kid, it came natural to him.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's becoming a pretty great entertainer, I guess you can say. I mean, I really liked all of his movies that he directed, and of course, all the way from Good Will Hunting up until now. I mean, he's done some pretty good work, and I think people don't give him enough credit.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough credit. I'm interested to see what he does for Batman.
Oh yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I was upset all the way up until I heard that it was going to be Ben Affleck, and then I was like, oh, all right.
It's just weird to me because he's such a famous actor.
Yeah, I thought that was odd.
And then all of a sudden he's going to be Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, the other actors that play Batman are really famous as well, but it's just seems like the way they've been moving with superheroes is kind of, they don't really get the huge name anymore.
Yeah, not until, I mean, the name becomes huge after.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Christian Bale, nobody really knew who he was until after Batman. But I mean, of course, he's done other movies before then, and of course, American Psycho and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think he was brushed under the rug a little bit, and then Batman really brought him into the spotlight again. That's what superhero movies can do.
Yeah.
Or a big budget movie.
Yep. It's all about the marketing.
Yeah.
All right, that's about all we have time for today. I'd like to thank Anthony for joining me on the show.
Thank you.
And see you guys later.